Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Neha and I make videos related to books, and finally I am back with a book video and it's going to be a book haul. So yeah, the last few videos I've put out have all been travel videos from my vacation in Spain. I had a lot of fun doing those and I've gotten a lot of great response for it, so thank you for that. But diving a little bit back into book content, I wanted to show you all my new books that I've bought over the course of, I would say, majorly January. A couple in December as well, but most of it has been January. So January is my birthday month. I turned 29 on Jan 28th and I splurged a little on books, which I haven't done for the previous 2-3 months. So in January I was kind of feeling low as well. A little bit of the January blues had kicked in, a little bit of the vacation blues, a little bit of the last year in your 20s blues had kicked in, so I wanted to treat myself. So I ended up picking up quite some books, but I am steadily making my way through the stack. Anyway, that's enough of an intro. Let's quickly talk about all the books that I bought in the last couple of months, and yeah, let's go. Okay, starting with the book that I'm currently reading. I just started reading this today morning. This is Euphoria by Lily King. I really like Lily King's previous books. I read Writers and Lovers as well as 5 Days in Winter. I think that was a collection of short stories. I loved Writers and Lovers and I really enjoyed her short story collection as well. This is actually one of her backlisted books, but I wanted to read as much of her work as possible. This essentially is the story of 3 anthropologists who kind of go and live with a tribe, and the interpersonal relationship that they have. 2 of them are a couple, they're husband and wife, and one of them kind of falls in love with the female in the couple. Her name is Nell. So Nell's story is apparently based on the real life of a real anthropologist named Margaret Mead, whose book kind of started the 60s sexual reawakening decade. And I actually just found that out before recording this video, so I found that fact really interesting, and that's why I am even more interested in reading this book. I'm about 28 pages into it and I am liking it. The writing style is very typical to other Lily King's books, and yeah, I am enjoying it. Let's see how I feel about it by the time I finish this. Then the next book is unfortunately a DNF for me right now. This is The Vulnerables by Sigrid Nunez. I picked this one up because I really enjoyed her previous work, especially The Friend. I found the writing style and her thoughts really beautifully written, but unfortunately this one I could not finish, mainly because it felt too long. It took too long to get to the point. Basically it's the story about 3 strangers who are kind of thrown together in a Manhattan apartment. One of them is a writer who is who's a vulnerable person. Like, she is someone who if exposed to coronavirus can be life threatening to her, so that's why she leads an isolated life. Then a random Gen Z person who also ends up in the apartment, and then there's a parrot. So all these 3 people are in one apartment and they have to kind of survive, and the relationship that they form. That's what the story says, but I got about 100 pages into it and it still didn't get to that point. It was rambling on and on and on about everything else on the planet, like random, like some friend of this writer who passes away, who's kind of like a sex addict, who is married but she cannot stop sleeping with other men. It just took on too many parts. It didn't get to the main story at least 80 to 90 pages into it, and by that time I had lost interest. And this year my resolution is, if a book is boring me, I am going to put it down and move ahead. So that's why I decided to put this one down. I don't know if I'll ever get to it, but right now this is a DNF. Then one book that I finished and I absolutely loved is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. This is a short one. This is kind of set in a dystopian world, dystopian/utopian world, wherein all the robots that human beings have developed have become sentient, and they decide that they no longer want to serve the humans and they just leave. And the human beings, they go back to kind of like, not exactly prehistoric times, but like pre-technology times, where they don't have technology and automation to help them in their lives. One of them is a tea monk, and they decide they want to know, they they're kind of lost. The purpose of life is what they're trying to search for, and they run into this robot who is sent by the other robots to figure out what human beings want, like the purpose for human beings. So they both come together. This is the first book in a series. The next one is called, I'm not too sure what it is called, but I am so excited to pick it up because this book is like a warm hug on a cold day. It is so cozy and sweet and wholesome, and I never thought I would say those adjectives for like a dystopian science fiction kind of book, but I absolutely loved it. Everybody on the internet has already raved about this book, and I'm going to join in those voices as well. I really enjoyed this. Then the last book that I finished in the haul is Time Shelter by Georgy Gospodinov. I finished this just last night actually. So it tells the story about two people who create time shelters, essentially buildings with different decades. Like the entire decor, the entire theme, the entire feel of each floor is set in a different decade, and they use these clinics for people with dementia and Alzheimer's because it has been proved that if they feel like they're in familiar settings, the settings that they grew up with, they do better with their diagnoses, and they they kind of get a little bit healthier. Of course, since it's a chronic disease, they don't get healthy, but yeah, it's basically about trying to help them. Of course, these time shelters start being used by normal healthy people as well, because they just don't want to live in the present time. They want to go back to a simpler time, or they just don't have hope for the future, so they just want to go back in the past. And slowly this idea of time shelter kind of becomes massive, where entire countries in Europe, they start to have referendums about going back in time, and they have referendums to decide which decade they want to go back to. So it becomes like this hugely blown out of proportion idea, and the narrator, who's one of the creators of the time shelter, he's kind of struggling with how his idea gets created into this monster, because there are wide-ranging implications of this move. So I absolutely love this. As you can see, I have been marking a lot. Some of the lines in this book are so beautiful. The world setting, the world explanation is so beautiful. I really enjoyed my time with it. Maybe in like a wrap-up video, I'll talk more about it, but I really enjoyed this. So yeah. So those are the 4 books that I'm either DNF'd or read or in the process of reading. Now after this, all these books I've not read yet. So let's start. So I won't go into too much detail with all of them because I don't know what they're about as much. I picked up a few books in Matunga's second-hand bookstores. One of them is right behind Cafe Mysore Cafe. Yeah, Mysore Cafe, and I really like that bookstall. The first one that I picked up is Kakold by Kiran Nagarkar. I've heard a lot about this Indian historical fiction book. It is set in the Rajput kingdom of Mewar, and this is one of those books that a lot of people talk about when they talk about classic books, and I've never read it, and I've never read Kiran Nagarkar, so I wanted to give this a shot, and since it was on second hand, I just felt that I should pick it up. But this is a thick one, so I don't know when I'll get to it, but Indian historical fiction honestly sounds so right up my alley, and this particular book also sounds right up my valley. So it says
that it's set in the early 16th century. The Rajput kingdom of Mewar is at the height of its power. It's locked in war with the sultanates of Delhi, Gujarat and Malwa. Simultaneously, another deadly battle being waged within Mewar itself. The throne should rightly belong to the heir apparent. The question is, will it? This is war, intrigue, action, introspective, reflective, thought-provoking, intensely moving. Yeah, all
these adjectives sound wonderful, so I am looking forward to picking this up. I don't know when. Then the other book from Matunga I picked up was This Must Be the Place by Maggie O'Farrell. I picked this up only because I love Maggie O'Farrell's writing. This is one of her backlist books. This is not a historical fiction which is a la how we know Maggie Farrell's books right now, like Hamnet and things like that. This is more like little bit more contemporary historical fiction is what I can see. It's about film stars and traveling, and I don't know too much about it. I really like the cover as well, so that's why I picked it up. Let's see how I feel about this one. Then the last one from Matunga is The Martian by Andy Weir. I read Project Hail Mary last year, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I felt like this is one writer who writes science fiction which is accessible to the likes of me, who don't really read a lot of like the deep genre of science fiction, you know, the actual truest form of it, but like the light frothy layers. I am someone who really enjoys the light frothy layers. So I just wanted to give this one a shot as well, because of course the movie is so good and everybody talks about this book also to be so good. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think this needs an introduction, but I also picked this, but this is another book that I've picked up. So let's see. Then a book I picked up in Spain actually. I picked this up in Barcelona. This is A Broken Mirror by Merce Rodoreda. I picked this up in a bookshop in Barcelona, like I said. I love going to places that I visit, and I visit the bookstores there, and I look for English books which have been translated from the native language there. Unfortunately, I didn't find too many of these in Spain. Only in Barcelona did I find these. One book that I did find a lot was A Shadow of My Heart by Carlo Ruiz Zafón, which is set in Barcelona, of course. But I did read that book and I didn't enjoy that book, so I didn't want to continue that series. But this is a Catalan, this is a classic from modern Catalan literature. Apparently, this author is one of Spain's most prestigious writers. This is also historical fiction. It is extending from Barcelona in the 1870s to the advent of the Franco dictatorship and the Spanish Civil War. It traces 3 generations of an aristocratic family at the turn of the 19th century. So it seems like it's a love story / epic family drama plus historical fiction. Again, sounds right up my bat. And also, I must tell you that books in Europe are very expensive. This is 15 euros. 15 euros. I treated it as a souvenir and that's why I picked it up. But oh my god, I'm so glad to be a bookworm in India. There's so much, the affordability of books is so much better, you know. Then one book that I actually got as a Secret Santa gift is The Night Watchman by Louis Erdrich. So yeah, I have been a part of their Secret Santa for the last 3 to 4 years actually, and it's always a good time participating in them. And this one has been on my wish list for quite some time. I read The Sentence by Louis Erdrich last year and I really enjoyed it. It had books and ghosts and bookshops, and also it was set in the pandemic during the George Floyd murder and the protests which happened after it. So I really enjoyed it. This one is actually the one that won her the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2021. So yeah, I really liked The Sentence because it also brought in a perspective of Native Americans, which I don't think I've ever read before that. So I wanted to read more books like that, and that's why I was also interested in picking this one up. So thank you to Jagdeep. I don't think he's watching, but he was the one who gifted me this book, and I'm very much looking forward to this. Then the last one in the haul is something I picked up in Kitab Khana. This is one of those authors that I constantly read because I really enjoyed their previous works. This is The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. If you have watched this channel, if you follow me on Goodreads, etc., I absolutely love Never Let Me Go. I love The Remains of the Day. I was very okay about Clara and the Sun, and the other 2 books of him I've read were forgettable. One of them was a DNF, if I'm not wrong. But I always like to give Ishiguro another chance, and I love these editions of him, which I can just hold on for posterity's sake. But anyway, The Buried Giant is actually one of those books that also has been highly raved from his works, and it says it's about a couple, Axel and Beatrice, who set off across a troubled land of mist and rain in the hope of finding a son they've not seen for years. They expect to face many hazards, some strange and otherworldly, but they cannot yet foresee how their journey will reveal to them dark and forgotten corners of their love for one another. So similar, it sounds like a typical Ishiguro where there's always something sinister beneath the surface, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Maybe it would be the next one that I pick up once I finish Euphoria by Lily King. So yeah, those are all the books that I bought in the last couple of months, mostly in January. This was the first book haul of 2024. Hopefully there won't be many of these because I have a lot of unread books, but I'm slowly making my way through it. But if you're still around, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon.